Hi, everyone. Very good morning to you from Germany. And also, yeah, from Nigeria. My co host was joining me from Nigeria as always. Today, we're going to be talking about one of the very most important topic for our audience, and that's, yeah, securing your visa to move abroad. So far, we know that most of our audience are Africans that are watching us both from Europe and also in Africa. And that's why we think this topic today is very important. Before I proceed, I'll let my co host just briefly introduce himself once more for those who are watching us for the first time, and then we dive into the conversation for today Africa and the new visa barriers across the UK, Germany, the US, and other countries that we've been seeing recently. Michael, over to you.
Oh, thank you so much, Michael. I must say you're looking so fresh this morning. So my name is Michael, and Echo, and I'm based. So many people call it Echo. It's not Echo, it's Echo, and I'm based in Nigeria, Kaduna State to be precise. Yeah. And so that's over to you, Michael.
Thank you. Now talking about the whole visa barriers or the tightening of visa, which is happening recently. The big question that one would ask themselves is why is this happening? I remember almost 11 years ago, back in 2014, when I moved to Germany, it was relatively easy. Back then, once you get your admission, all you had to do was to go to the German embassy in Nigeria, in Lagos, and then you get a form from there. You go to the cyber cafe. Funny thing, cyber cafe was very common and popular then. I'm not sure how it is now. You go to the cyber cafe, and then you schedule an appointment. Is it you schedule an appointment, or you fill up the form and then you email the form? I think after you email the form, an appointment is scheduled for you or something. But it was super straightforward, you know. And then I got my appointment maybe after 2 or 3 weeks, and I went for the visa interview. Straightforward. And funny thing, the lady who interviewed me is actually an African lady. I couldn't tell if she's Nigerian or not, but it was not a European lady. And we talked, we had a just really chilled conversation. Why are you going to study in Germany? What are you going to do? Do you plan to come back? What are you going to study? They really asked me questions about what I'm going to study, very specific. Good thing I did the whole process myself. So I could answer all the questions. And then the visa was supposed to come out, if I recall back then, I say it takes between 4 to 8 weeks for the visa to come out. By the sixth week, I had not heard from them. And then I got worried. So I emailed them. The funny thing is, I was trying not to email them. I felt like they needed time to do whatever. But then I completed all the requirements, so I needed to hear from them. So by the sixth week, I emailed them. That afternoon, when I emailed them, in less than half an hour, I got a response. And they said, yes, everything is complete, but we see that your study program already started in October, or they resumed already. So we need a confirmation from the school that you can still be enrolled. I took that message, I sent it on the spot to the international office of my university. In less than 10 minutes, the international office wrote the embassy, they faxed the embassy directly. Within minutes, I got my visa. I got the appointment to come pick up my visa. Everything was just happening in minutes. So you can see
Wow.
how fast the communication with the embassy was, with the international office of the uni. Everything was smooth. And that was the experience for most people back then. The first time I started experiencing the difficulty, like not me, that I started hearing about the difficulty, was towards 2019. 2018 was still okay, but 2019 started getting tough. And here we are today in the future. It's a whole different story. And now one will ask himself, what changed? What happened? I think we'll come to that in a moment. But maybe you could touch a bit on the situation in the UK, what's happening there, and what have you seen? What have you heard?
Yeah, the UK, like every other country, like as you rightly mentioned, the US, they're beginning to tighten their listen, and this is because you continue to optimize your operation and streamline your process, where you begin to notice gaps,
Yeah,
and then
yeah.
yeah, so you tighten up, and the some countries have been labeled high risk, okay, and Saharan Africas were badly affected, especially Cameroon, Ghana, Nigeria, and also part of Ethiopia and all that. So for such countries that are considered high risk, they are the interview process is more, the scrutiny level of scrutiny is higher, and
Hmm.
the whole thing is just to make sure that there are no loopholes in the administrative process. in order to streamline the process and for the sake of security and to make the system more stronger. And so this is exactly what is happening. Like you said, maybe subsequent questions we could provide more insight on why there is this tightening of the immigration policies and then the visa requirements,
Yeah.
and why the US is also insisting on in-person interview to make sure that also you have strong ties to your home country and a whole lot of other consideration. What used to be relaxed and all of that now that is being tightened very strongly. And
Yeah.
so maybe as we proceed further in the session, we'll dive deeper into it.
Yeah. Anyway, so for those who are watching us right now, if you plan on traveling abroad, especially to Europe, you don't have to do it alone because there are a lot of information out there. And that's why we created Settling, the platform which is the social network for migration. The thing is, in the world that we are today, information is flying everywhere on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, Telegram, WhatsApp, Facebook, you name it. And then you ask yourself, where can I get authentic and verified information? More importantly, how can I connect with people who are there where I want to be? I am sharing my stories on Settling. I am responding to the questions of people on Settling. I don't know it all, of course, but then there are also other people there who know it. And that's the idea. We come together so that we can filter through the crazy information out there. So if you're not using Zeppelin, I do encourage you to create an account on Zeppelin today and then just shoot your question. Begin by understanding what's happening. And what we've seen so far is that you always have to ask yourself, why am I going to a particular destination? Because frankly speaking, these countries, they need migrants. There's no doubt. US is the way it is today because of migrants. US, if I got it correctly, US is the most heterogeneous country in the world. And it's not because um, it's they don't hate migrants. They want migrants. The country is built on migrants. The country is ruled by migrants. And it just goes on and on. So what that translates to is you are needed, as we have always said in this show. The same also goes for the UK. How will the UK survive without migrant? What's the population of native British or native English people? It's nothing compared to what can actually hold the system. The same goes for Germany, experiencing aging population, decline in the young population. So the fact is there, migrants are needed, foreigners are needed, international students are needed. But how can you position yourself to see that you're not perceived as a nuisance, that you're not perceived as a fraudster or whatever they classify you as? And that's why you need to take some step backwards and do things a little bit differently. Don't jump on what you see on Telegram, Facebook, wherever. Yeah, you get them, but um, try to also filter through this multitude of information and always think it's you versus the country that you're going to. Does that make any sense, Michael?
Of course, it makes a lot of sense, especially at this time where what you know today is not the same as what is obtainable tomorrow, because there's a lot is happening in the immigration space, and the
Yeah,
migration space. So, you need a trusted platform like Settling,
yeah,
where you have a lot of persons that can provide that level of support on any question at all. Like you said, it's difficult for one person to know everything at this time, and Settling provides you that platform where what A doesn't know, A, B might know, or C might know. You get the help that you need, and
yeah.
this is why Settling becomes a very good platform at this time, and you'll be doing yourself a very good all the best when you sign up on Settling as it is now today.
Okay, so just building on top of that, now coming to Germany, what we know for sure is that they are actually making the policies a lot easier. Although one thing I've also sensed is that whereas within the country, the policies are more towards migration friendly, but the resources to make this happen is not necessarily there. And that's why the embassy, the German embassy, in most countries, especially in Africa, they are, say, in German is überlastet. So they are overburdened. A lot of They cannot cope with the number of applications that they are receiving. And then you ask yourself, what's happening? Do you want people or you don't want people? So that's a whole political and bureaucracy issue that we can't discuss right now. But what I can assure people is this: regardless of the country, always find a way to be ahead of the system. And being ahead of the system means the system has flaws, the system has issues, the system is not perfect. So you have to think ahead of the system. It's not to beat the system, but it's to think ahead of the system. For example, for most Africans, Cameroonians, Nigerians, and now even Ghanaians who want to apply to come study in Germany or even work in Germany, what happens is that the waiting period is so long. The waiting period for the visa is so long. So what can you do to be ahead of this system? As soon as you know that you're ready to study, or as soon as your admission is out, you request an appointment for a visa. It takes God knows how long for it to come out, but you can already start counting. And then for people who want to do family reunion, for example, if I heard correctly, or the last time I checked, the minimum waiting period is 1 year. So if you plan to do it in 2 or 3 years, then you should already begin now so that that waiting period start counting. So these and many more are like the tips and tricks that you should keep in mind and see how to go about it. Um, Michael, I'd like you to touch on the part of the government blaming. Yeah, someone just commented on that, saying um, fraud narrative has impacted the African nations negatively and it's having a toll on those who genuinely want to travel. Yeah, that's the sad thing. One person does something and then it affects every other people. Could you touch on that briefly? What are these negative narratives that has impacted Africans trying to move abroad?
Yeah, like is it yeah, Obere, they rightly said, fraud is one of the main factors that is beginning to bring about this tightening of the immigration policies and visa requirements. They also mentioned, not like, fraud can come in different forms. I said I'm coming to stay for 2 days, and then I end up staying for 1 year, and also stay for 5 years, and I'm just trying to beat the system. And now this thing, it also help. It makes it very difficult for the host country to plan, because they need the data, and they want to know the exact number of persons that they are. Like if you are in a home now, you want to know the exact number of persons that you are feeding. You cannot just plan for 5, and then somehow some 2 persons are sneaking in to come and eat. Like
Mhm.
that. It makes the planning very difficult. So
Yeah,
now,
yeah,
when people say I'm coming to stay for 1 day, or I'm coming to study, and then it is now turned into a permanent stay and all that. So because of this, they have to go back, look at the immigration policies and visa requirements, and then try to like tighten it, and then consolidate on their existing, and then streamline the process. This is what bringing about it. So overstay, all right. You came in through student round, study visa round, and the next thing now you make it a permanent stay somehow, or you come for a walk, and all of that. So for all non-immigrant visa and non-diplomatic distance, these are the ones that are majorly affected. So the requirement has been seriously tightened. All documents have placed other more strict scrutiny to make sure that the process, there are no errors in the administrative process. Like you just mentioned, sometimes, and this is also to discourage people who don't really need to travel. You don't just, because they say, okay, you can apply for visa. People don't have serious business traveling abroad. Just come. So they want to make sure that they are attracting the right persons who are traveling abroad. There's also this issue of document falsifications. Document falsification. That's also another thing. So you say maybe you studied that they are beginning to let in nurses. You go and falsify nursing documents, or certain requirements and like that. So much later you discover, nobody is happy when their system is being maneuvered and like that.
of
So
course, of
these
course.
things are among the reasons why these
Hmm.
countries are beginning to tighten. And also another very strong reason is security, safety and security.
Yeah,
And this is why they are insisting on in-person interviews, so that they can look at you. And I also want to make sure that you have enough resources, okay, that you have the money to take care of your travels, so that you don't
hmm,
become another burden on the country where you're traveling to and constituting any form of nuisance there, instead
yeah,
of coming to add value. So they want to make sure that those who are traveling to these destinations, majorly the UK and the US, are not coming to or to as a pest, but coming to add value to their economy and their system,
Yeah,
okay, and to solve problems. So
yeah,
this is where this whole issue is coming from. It's a response to gaps that they have found in
yeah.
the process. Yeah,
Mhm. Yeah, it's an interesting system because I hear that at least in Germany and probably the UK and also the US, um, if they know who is legal in the country and who is not legal in the country, and if they want to get you, they know how and when and where to get you. But I
yeah,
guess somehow it's also there are laws that prevent them from taking certain kind of actions. And it's
yeah,
just a whole jungle out there. It's
yeah,
like keeping a balance between what you want versus what you say versus what the
yeah,
law says.
yeah,
It's like
yeah.
the legal department or the justice department versus the police department versus the immigration department. Everyone just there are those who are protecting the migrant, and then there are those who are they're not necessarily not protecting the migrant, but they are protecting the interest of the country.
Or
So
ensuring
ensuring
compliance with existing frameworks.
compliance, yeah. But now, just coming back to what's more important, um, what I always like to say is again, do not do something because other people are doing it. In Germany, for example, there are multiple ways that you can move to Germany, either as a student, a skilled worker, on family reunion, business, startup. We talked about Ausbildung before, the trainee or apprenticeship program, and then also the opportunity card and job seeker visa. So at the end of the day, regardless of who you are, there is an option for you, and you just have to find that option. And this is what I really want to understand. Why are people not finding the option that works for them? Someone texts you today and they want that by tomorrow or in 1 month or 3 months, their visa should be out. It doesn't work that way. And this is actually what leads to all this kind of, yeah, maybe call it stigmatization because people don't take the time to find out the best routes that works for them and follow things accordingly. You have to ask yourself, what do you have to offer? And if you don't have anything to offer, then the country genuinely does not want you. I don't think any country wants you, not even your country. You cannot just sit and don't do nothing. It doesn't work that way. The same goes for the UK. The UK is tightening there. I'm not a big fan of the UK because yeah, I haven't been there before, and I'm not sure when and if I will be there. But just like every other country, they also want they have their own interest, right? They want what's best for them. But it comes at really high cost for the people. Moving to the UK can be quite expensive, and it doesn't stop there. You finish, there are not a lot of opportunities for you what you can do after your studies. I've met and seen so many people, and not to talk about the social benefits for the people. It's quite difficult. The US is a completely different location. It's like, yeah, the wide west, so to speak. There are lots of opportunities for you. And if you're ready to put in the hard work, you will find something to do. Same with many other countries. My point being, take the time to research, talk with people, join a community that is not all about fast, but all about doing it well the right way, about sustainability. Because again, you don't just move to go stay in one location shortly, only to do what's next. So you need to already think ahead from the beginning. And that's why I am genuinely passionate about people taking the time to understand the requirements for every destination that they plan to go to. And nothing stops you from exploring multiple destinations if you are that, say, if you're not selective. So coming back again to where we started from, that's also the reason why we started this podcast in the first place, Migration Truth, to tell you the truth about migration, to tell you the truth that people otherwise would not tell you. Frankly speaking, myself and also my co host, Michael, we don't care how much you have and how much you spend. We just want you to do the right thing. We just want you to find the best opportunity for yourself. And that's also why we have the platform Setly, such that you have all the time in the world to do your research, to ask questions, communicate with people, and most importantly, connect with people who are already there. I'd like to come back to you, Michael. Could you touch on why people are not taking or for the most part, they're not taking the right approach. Why is it that someone wants to contact you today and is expecting to get their visa in 3 months or in 6 months? And in many cases, they have no idea what they want to do. They just want you to figure everything out for them.
You know, it's one, if I may say, it could be the bandwagon effect. All right, the bandwagon effect, and then poor knowledge, and then also both of oneself and what is obtainable. Okay, bandwagon, because I say because you know there is this sense of once you travel abroad, it's like you've made it. There is this, if you are outside Europe and America, there is this feeling of once you've crossed over, there are things that indicate you're a smart person, you're very serious about your life, and you've made it. So these are things that tend to come with traveling abroad from most parts of Africa, especially the sub-Saharan African
Yeah.
countries. So now this one is that so people just want to go. Now, also, even from that, like you've always maintained, they wait until it has reached the level of emergency, like when it is late. You've always mentioned starting on time. If you want to
Yeah.
start, if you have a plan of traveling abroad, you should know what you're going to do. You should know the requirements for what you're going to do and the duration. Now,
Hmm.
because part of these changes that we are seeing in the immigration policy realignment is also the validity and the entry. Like for the US, for non-immigrant visas or non-diplomatic visas, the entry used to be multiple, and it used to be for the validity period of about 2 years.
Yeah.
But now, based on the reciprocal policy that is now in force, it's just a maximum of 3 months for non-immigrant immigration visas and
Okay.
non-diplomatic visas. Okay, so now even for work visas, it's all been reduced to maybe your contract. But before now, it's that flexible. So the flexibility has been knocked off.
Yeah.
And this is a response to abuse. Abuse is just a word for this. So now you are seeing this because people don't really know what they are going to do. Before, like you just mentioned there, when you contact professionals, if you want to travel abroad, they will tell you where the opportunities exist. Okay, Germany is in need of engineers at this time. Did you study engineering? If you didn't study engineering, then you don't have to go and start applying for the process.
That's right.
Germany is in need of nurses at this time.
Yeah.
Okay, even if Germany is in need of nurses, are you a nurse? Okay, did you study maybe like a health essential worker kind of certificate or a certification, but not real midwifery? Do you now need to go and start falsifying the documents so that you can fit into the category of persons being
Yeah.
welcomed in Germany or wherever? So
Mm.
these are the issues. And if you beat the process, now, but part of what is happening now is countries are like the UK just signed an agreement with Nigeria to tighten up the security of the process and to fetch out any form of fraud and deception in the process. So if you said you are coming to study, they are now working in strong partnership with the Nigerian government so that now it is difficult for anybody to create any crack in the process and to beat it. So
Mm.
this is all in response to uh, the absence of sincerity from people who plan to travel abroad. And you really will not have to blame. And what's still, Michael, is when people cross with this with content creation and then social media monetization, people will come online again and start saying how they beat the system. Can you imagine that level of foolishness?
How they beat the system and they say it publicly.
Yes. They say na only mugu that they like and they use such words and you know if you are the person you are in your house and then I came in you welcome your door but then later you say I went to this master I lied to him that my uncle the kids not and all of that and I came in next time if another person comes if he tells you a similar story say he's one of them you will
Yeah.
not be able to tell the difference between the gender. So, and this is why, like that person who left made the earlier comment say, those who are innocent and are feeling the brunt of this because, citizens from Sub-Saharan Africa are being subjected into very uncomfortable scrutiny, which is not
Mhm.
helping. And people who are
Yeah.
not genuine are going through very difficult processes to
Yeah.
migrate. Yeah,
Yeah. And it shouldn't be that way. It shouldn't be that
it
way.
shouldn't be. Yeah.
Yeah, it shouldn't be that way. So if you understand that you are needed somewhere And if you have the right profile, then everything will be fine. You just need to wait for your turn. And I can also understand the urgency that some people feel, in the sense that in their current location and situation, things are economically really bad. Um, but the truth is, if you can see the future, then what you will see most likely is that trying to beat the system or maneuver the system, whatever that means, or however you do that, will not help you in the long run. Why? Because at the end of the day, how you come into a country and your profile and what you do would determine how you're going to excel or not excel in that country. Um, there have been cases of people, yeah, like you mentioned, who try to fake their ways into the country, but at some point it comes back to you. Let's say you use a fake document to move abroad, and then it gets to the time for you to apply for your permanent residence or citizenship, especially for citizenship, except you don't want that. But if that's what you will, if you will apply for that, or any, there's some kind of key or major positions within the country or within some organizations that they will do a background check. They do this. In my case, when I applied for my German citizenship many years ago, they literally went to Otukpo and were meeting my classmates to confirm if I went to that primary school, if I went to that secondary school, and if we were friends. Some of my friends, people the German government contracted people to go to their homes, like as far as where I was born. Also to my parents, they are different locations, my siblings. So at the end of the day, if you fake it, it's going to bite you at some point, because there are certain positions you will apply for that a thorough background check will be done. And trust me, it will not be funny if they find out that you faked some things at some point. Personally, I don't think there's any need for that. Like whatever your status is now, you can get to where you want to go to. Truthfully, there's no need to beat the system. The system is not trying to beat you. Everyone is just looking for a fair kind of partnership or engagement. Yeah.
Okay, my mic was muted. Yes, I love that so much. The system is not trying to beat you, so don't try to beat the system.
Yeah, it's not trying to beat you, it's just seeking compliance.
Yeah, it just seeks compliance and to ensure that the right things are done and so that it can apply better for you where you come in. So now talking about you were talking about background checks. They are now taking it. Most countries, especially the UK and the US, they are taking it very seriously now.
Yeah,
And
Germany
the
too.
reciprocal policy is also part. This is also part of the reciprocal policy. All right, so because and this is why people are now being invited for visa re-interview, because when they made some changes to the existing policy, they have to start calling people back again because they want to ensure a very more strict background checks down to the social media requirement, as you may have heard. They're now going to have your social media profile audited and to see your activities and all of that. So, and go as far as possible to your community and all that to ensure the integrity of the process. They just want to ensure the integrity of the process and to
Mhm.
make sure that there are no administrative errors in the process, as was the case or as has been the case in the recent past.
Yeah.
So this is part of why these adjustments are being made to ensure that they attract the right group of immigrants to their country who would come to add value and
Yeah.
not come to constitute safety issues and security and then make planning difficult for the real indigents of the host nations.
Yeah. Yeah. So, guys, we're gonna round it up now. I think the key thing that we wanted to touch on today is, yeah, the new visa barriers. But then what we're also saying is that why are these barriers coming up? And the other part of the conversation is the fact that you are needed. And that's a fact. There is no question about that. There is no question about the need for foreigners, the need for immigrants, the need for skilled workers, the need for international students. It's there. You just have to find out how to apply the right way. And that's what we are genuinely encouraging you to do, because at the end of the day, you want to be in a country where you have peace of mind. If you are in a country illegally, it's the most, I haven't experienced it before, but I've seen people, and um, it's the most stressful thing, literally. It's like You think that you will be okay that way, but long term, it will really hit you badly. And the worst thing would be for someone who is genuinely and fully qualified for a particular pathway, but they want to beat the system and then they go the wrong way. You don't have to do that. And there is no need to be in a hurry because at the end of the day, that time that you're trying to save, you will end up losing that time. So for me, concluding on today's conversation, you are needed. Take the time to research. We have developed settling for you where you can ask your questions. I don't think there's any question you ask about migration that you will not find the answer on settling. So what are you waiting for? If you're watching this now, if you know someone who needs to see this, and tell it to them. Get serious with your life. Really, that's the point. Because if you're serious with your life, you will not play around. Because at the end of the day, it's your life that we're talking about here. If you are in a country where you're not safe because of how you got into the country, because how you faked your way into the country or whatever, it's your life, not someone else's life. So,
And
Mike,
quickly write it up for how long are you going to be hiding? How long are you going to be hiding? And how can you really dream hiding? I
you
mean,
know, yeah,
how can
yeah,
you dream when you are hiding? So how can the dreams be able to be realized if you're able to dream hiding? Because you can't dream in a vacuum. You have to go to the space where these dreams can be realized. And if you have
yes,
not come in the right way, how can you then dream?
yeah,
Just
that's
to
right.
conclude, now you know that if there's a process in force, if you try to beat it, it will always fetch you out. Okay, and when you are going to be caught, it will be more difficult for you to start again. Because, for
Yeah.
instance, now quickly, let me say somebody used the wrong WAEC result to enter university.
Mm-hmm.
Now this person, no, she got the wrong admission, a fake admission. Okay, she was able to register and everything, and in the final year, where they were going through investigation and then screening, proper screening,
Yeah.
they discovered that these admissions were fake. This person have taken all, they have made payment for 4 years, only in the final year to now be sent home expelled because you've been schooling on the wrong admission, fake admission. So
Yeah.
you can imagine this person in your graduation year where you should be graduating, you're now having to go and start again. That is going to
Mm-hmm.
take a lot of useful energy from you. If you're not strong mentally, it will be difficult to ever come back to go back to school again.
Yeah.
And that is what happens in most cases. You could not have squandered about 4, 5, 6 years of your life, and then you think it's easy to recover. So it's better to do the right thing at the right time. There's
Yeah.
just no option to that.
Yeah. At the end of the day, you notice that these things are not that difficult, right?
Yeah,
But it's easier
yeah.
to say it if you're kind of on the other side. But I think that's the best that we can do. So, guys, my name is Mike. I am the guy behind Settling and Ojira Soft. And today I had my co-host with me, Michael, joining from Nigeria. My co-host on the Migration Truth podcast, and we come on live every Saturday to touch on one topic which is related to migration, especially to Africans who want to move abroad, to Germany, to Europe, the UK, and so on. So thank you for watching us until this time. All the guys watching from YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, and Twitter. We appreciate you. If you are not on Settling, I do encourage you to create an account on Settling because what we're trying to do here, we cannot achieve it without people like you. We need people like you to push this narrative forward. Africans are good people. Um, Nigerians are good people. Ghanaians are good people. Cameroonians, Kenyans, we're all good people. It doesn't mean that everyone is a saint, no, but the majority of the people are good. And the few bad behaviors now give a bad image of the whole continent and the people abroad. Um, but you would realize later on that you're going to meet way more good people than the bad ones, And you who's watching this, I believe you're a good person, and I hope that this will be meaningful for you. The best that you can do is take this into practice if you plan on moving abroad. And if you know someone who needs to watch this, share it with them. And of course, ask your questions, leave comments in the comment sections below. Or better still, sign up on Settling and make your post. Collectively, we can change this narrative about Africa. And that's the idea here, that people know that there are way more good people than bad people. There are way more people that want to comply with the system than those who want to beat the system. So that's all I have to say for today, and I wish everyone a nice Saturday.
Yeah, wishing all. Yeah, Africans are good people, and we have more good people in Africa than bad. So let not form the perception or the impression about us. We are good people, wonderful people, as can be confirmed anytime, any day. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us today. See you next weekend.
Cheers, guys.